Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Taken your lunch?
Yes.
Okay, let's do a icebreaker. Okay, so I want you to introduce yourself and also your role. Okay, so let's start with you first.
Hi, my name is Joseph. I'm from PR in CMB.
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm a business development manager of my own company.
Hello everyone, my name is Zed. I'm a business development manager for my solutions company.
Okay, so today our course is about introduction to business credit. So let's have a simple and fun activity, an ice-breaking activity, somewhat related to credit. Okay, so let's play a game that if your answer is yes, I will say a statement. If your answer is yes, then you stand up. If it's no, then you remain sit down. Okay? Okay, so stand up if you have ever applied for a loan. Or cash rich or oh yo.
Yeah.
Okay, stand up if you use credit cards.
Invisible man.
Stand up if you have mortgage or car loan. Okay, this one cash one. Everything also cash one. Okay. So stand up if you always pay your credit card bill on time, not relevant to you. Stand up if you ever check your credit score.
I never checked before.
Okay.
Never.
Oh, maybe I work in the bank.
Okay, stand up if you ever compare different loan offers before borrowing. How come you don't take loan but you compare?
Doesn't mean I want to take because
Okay.
interest too high liao. True. Not worth
Okay, stand up if you know what is banker's acceptance.
I have to know, right? I work in the bank.
Not necessary. That's why you come for introductory class. If you don't know, it's okay. Then you will learn now from the course. Okay. So stand up if you know the difference between flat interest rate and reducing balance interest rate. Wow. Okay. So stand up if you know. If you know the difference between secured and unsecured loan. Very good. Our audience today very good. The last one. Stand up if you think collateral is the most important thing in obtaining a loan. So this is just an exercise to gauge the credit profile of my audience before I start the class. Okay, so introduction to business credit, and this is my profile. So I've been in the banking industry for over 15 years. I've been with a short stint in consumer banking, investment banking, but mainly in the segment of business banking, handling SME account, commercial accounts, all the way to listed company, from SME all the way to listed company. So I have certified credit professional by Asian Institute of Chartered Bankers, and also recently got another, went for another course called Digital Leadership in collaboration by the Asia School of Business and My Digital. Okay, next. Okay, there comes the important part. So let's have a brief introduction on what is credit. So we can take a look at this video.
When people hear the word credit, they often think of a mortgage, a bank or student loan, or credit cards. A better, more general way to define and understand the concept of credit is when one party receives resources from another party, but for which there is no immediate payment. In the case of a bank loan, the resource received is cash, or the availability of cash by way of a credit line or a credit card. But there is also something called trade credit. With trade credit, the resource received is a product or a service for which an invoice is issued with an expectation of future cash payment per the invoice terms. The party that receives resources is the debtor, often called the borrower if it's a loan. The party that provides the resource is the creditor, or a lender if we're talking about cash credit from, say, a bank. Creditors employ a variety of risk models and frameworks to measure credit risk prior to advancing resources to a debtor. They then employ creative credit structures to help mitigate loan loss should an event of default occur. These include characteristics like the maximum loan amount, the interest term, and the amortization period. Another big one is collateral. When it comes to bank loans, particularly for commercial borrowers, it's often to finance or to refinance a physical asset, like a property, a vehicle, or equipment. This asset serves as collateral for the loan, so it's said to be secured credit. Credit that is not secured by a specific underlying asset is said to be unsecured. A good example is consumer credit, which includes student loans and credit cards.
Okay, so whenever we talk about credit, I think most of us will be thinking about bank lending, bank financing. So in this video, you actually also learn there are actually two types of credit. So that's why we are coming next to my next slide. Okay, credit. So in general, credit involves lending activities, something that you anticipate future repayment. So in another definition, direct credit means financing given by the bank to a customer. But more often, we also actually have indirect credit in the market, which is the credit terms that you actually get from a supplier. Like for example, if you were to buy a product from your supplier gives you a credit terms of 30 days, 60 days, or you give credit to your customer 90 days, 120 days. That is also a form of credit, but it's an indirect credit. Okay, but for the benefit of our course, so we will only be focusing on direct credit, which is the credit given by a bank to a customer. And for the purpose of my course, I'll actually focus more on the business side, means providing credit to the business instead of the consumer side. Okay. Okay, learning outcome. Can everybody read the words on the slide? Upon completion
of this program, participants should be able to understand the basics of business credit.
And assessment criteria is by
Threshold assessment criteria by way of Q&A.
All right. Okay. So our module 1 will talk about scope of credit evaluation. So these are literally the very, very basic. So scope of credit evaluation, like the basic one, we will be looking at the purpose. Why one want to apply for credit, apply for loan, and also structure. In structuring a loan, what are the things that banks look at? What are the things that banks consider? And also the famous 5 C's of credit that I think every banker should know from junior and all the way to senior. Okay? So the first one, purpose. The purpose has to be consistent with borrower's nature of business. For example, if let's say you are a service provider, let's say you're providing some graphic design works. Okay, suddenly you want to buy a factory. So it will come to a mind that why would you need a factory? So because bank actually always worry that the funds are being diverted to any use that's not intended for it. Okay, so the first thing that comes to the mind of the evaluator, the lender, or the assessor is always the purpose. You getting the financing must be consistent with your nature of business. Okay. So, like example, if let's say you are providing services in the form of if you are providing trading, like for example, you trade maybe milk powders and things like that. Then if let's say you wanted to buy a shop lot, then it makes sense because you need to, let's say you want to do retail business, you need to have a shop lot, or let's say you need to have a warehouse to keep your stock. Then that one is consistent with the nature of your business. So what are some of the common purpose that we actually came across when people come and ask for financing? So more often than not is fixed asset purchase. Fixed asset purchase will include things like purchasing shop lot, purchasing factory, purchasing machinery, equipment, vehicles, your lorry. So this is more on the business side. Whereas I think consumer side, you will see people buying house, buying condo, buying bungalow, buying land. Okay, and also maybe some buying cars as well. So having said that, if let's say a company comes to you and say that they want to buy a condo, so is it consistent with their business or nature? If a company come to you and say, I want to, can you provide me a financing? What kind of things that you wanted to finance? They wanted to buy a condo. Is it consistent with their business or nature?
What if the business or nature is doing live only?
Pardon?
Doing live in TikTok or in Shopee?
Live on TikTok?
Like a proper shop lot, no?
Okay, possible, so long it is justifiable. So what are the things that you think is justifiable to lend to a company to purchase condo or house?
Airbnb, yeah.
Airbnb, okay. But always take note now, for company to purchase property and get financing under company, the maximum margin that you can get is only 60%. Yeah, that's as per Bank Negara ruling. So other thing is like, for example, they provide quarters for their workers. Although let's say they are a glove manufacturer, they are a factory owner, but they can tell you things that I need to provide place of residence for my worker. So I'm buying this condo, buying this house to house my worker, to provide residence for them. So it makes sense. But the maximum margin will be 60%. Okay? So other purpose will be like working capital. Working capital will be like the daily usage of the company. Like for example, you need to buy stock, you need to make payment to supplier, and you need to keep inventory level. Then there will be time whereby when you buy something, your supplier asks for cash term. No cash, I don't supply you with the goods. But you are giving credit terms to your customer. So there's a gap. For example, from the day you make payment to your supplier, to the day you receive payment from a customer, probably there's a 90 days gap, 120 days gap. So bank can actually come in and finance this gap. Okay, and some are, so this will be like short-term financing. Whereas for fixed asset purchase, it's usually long-term. Okay, the tenure will be very long. So working capital will be like short-term. So later on, we will actually explore the many different types of product to finance working capital. So what is refinancing? Okay, refinancing can be like you have already paid down a property for many years, and now that you need to cash out some of the funds because you want to do investment, you want to start up a new product line for whatever purpose, you can always take the property, whether it's already you have already settled all the loan, or you already settled half. So you already settled everything. You can actually still go back to the bank and refinance to cash out. Or alternatively, some of your property you may have been paying installment for the past 10 years. So now you have half of the principal outstanding left. And also the property value has gone up. So you go back to the bank and tell the bank that I wanted to borrow some because blah blah blah. It can be working capital or whatever. They can base on the market value and a certain margin of finance and provide a line of financing to you as well. Okay, so what are the other purposes that can come into the bank for financing, such as project financing? You are probably a contractor. You are getting a construction project from a developer. So you need the bank to come in to get you this financing gap. So and in this sense, you can provide the bank with like contract. This is my contract, and this is my cash flow projection, and get the bank to finance you. Or alternatively, you are a developer. You want to build a project with 1 billion GDV. So then you need to have a startup fund to do all your preliminary earthworks and all the before you even kickstart your sales. So all these things you can actually come to the bank to get financing. So these are just some of the purpose that the bank often actually take a look at it. So any questions so far?
So what are the examples for money not directed to the purpose intended?
Okay, you see, sometimes when the bank give a financing, let's say in the form of a very generic, okay, like a very generic. So what we worry is that the owner actually misuse the funds. They could, let's say for example, the bank lends you a 500,000. So when you don't have actual project running it, there's a tendency sometimes they will actually invest in like shares market lah, cryptocurrency lah, invest in another business that is not related. So these are the things that actually bank don't want to see. But having said that, it's actually difficult to see, difficult to evaluate. But of course, annually the bank will also conduct annual review on the account conduct. So they will actually be able to see sometimes where you channel your fund, because it's actually sometimes if you really pay attention, it's actually inside your account, your bank statement, your whatever, all the channeling. Or some of them, they actually channel the fund to their own director's pocket, because the director went and buy maybe a luxury car for himself. These are some of the examples that the money has been directed to purposes not intended for the business use or the original purpose. Okay? So,
can I ask a question?
yeah.
But I mean, as a bank, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that if I get to pay you back on time, then isn't that okay already?
That's
like
not.
Even, like for example, if I borrow 1 million, right? Supposingly it's for my solution project, right? But if in the end I found a chance in maybe, for example, share or capital market that I can invest in another company for maybe 2 years, and I can actually get a margin back and I can pay back the bank, then why does the bank care?
Correct. Yes and true. So long you pay your money, I think usually bank don't come and kacau you because they know that you're paying. But if let's say they see red flags, they see signs that your payments are delayed, your payments are slowed down, then they will go and find out further. Why? Because when they do the assessment evaluation upfront, they probably already learn a lot, study a lot about your projection. You say the sales will come in, this project will have this coming in. But if it didn't come in, and then you delay your payment, that is when the bank will come in and ask, what happened? Maybe at first they will just ask you, your payment is late. You may forget due to because you are very busy. Kindly make the payment as soon as possible. But if you were to drag 2-3 months and turn NPL, then there will be a team that conduct all this post-disbursement, what have gone wrong, what went wrong, and it will become a case study for future cases for people to take note. So because we always see that those loans that gone bad now, a lot of time, of course, there's a lot of factors to it. Of course, it can be due to economy, it can be due to COVID, it can be due to, but there's a portion of people that because they actually channel the fund out to unintended use. Like probably they invest in something that they didn't do proper research, they cannot see the return coming back. But like you say, of course, when they do the assessment upfront, they try to gather as much information as possible. But I did agree with you. So long you make your payment, most of the time bank don't come and kacau you. But if your account is big enough, because like there is certain segregation of the limit of the amount that you borrow from the bank. So if let's say above certain amount, they will do an annual review every year. So you will see that sometimes the bank will go and ask from the owner, can you provide me with audited report, bank statement, whatever. They want to conduct a review. So if sometimes they just pick you, or sometimes because your amount exceeds certain limit, they conduct annual review every year. So during annual review, if they find any red flags, then they probably will ask you. But having said that, if your repayment track record is really good, most of the time they also don't kind of disturb you.
But I mean, like for this kind of segregation of the level, is it like very strict? Like for me, like if the segregation level is 1 million, then if I take a loan of 999,000, then would I be under the segregation or above this, or still count as 1 million segregation?
Again, I don't get your question.
You said what? According to the amount of loan that we are actually applying, they will put you into different categories.
Yes.
So for example, if the category is like 2 million, you would be categorized in the next category where they come and kacau you.
Yes, I agree with what you mean.
Then I borrow 1,999,000 then.
That really depends on the bank's definition. Some banks they segregate the department between SME is within the purview of this department. Non-SME is another. So some they really strictly follow Bank Negara regulation, like the SME definition. What is the number of staff? What is your revenue? So if you're classified under SME, then you will be inside SME banking. But certain banks, they actually have cut off regardless of your revenue and number of staff. Let's say if your loan amount is above 5 million, then you are in another category. Below 5 million, you are under SME banking. So within SME banking purview, actually they hardly do an annual review. But having said that, it doesn't mean that don't conduct annual review. They probably have a criteria that some company will auto pass the annual review. They don't have to scrutinize and see. Certain company, if they fail certain criteria, then they will get picked up to do review. But if you're under the department of, let's say, business banking, whereby your non-SME account, or if your loan amount is more than 5 million, then very likely every year the banker will come and visit you and knock your door and say, hi, can you please provide me with the latest audited report, management account, bank statement.
So it's better to know the banker first before you do all these things.
It's also better for you to know all these, so you know how to maneuver. Okay. Next is, when we talk about structure, a lot of time you'll be just thinking, I just want to get this amount of money from the bank. Actually, there's a lot more to the structure, such as the first thing is amount. You cannot just probably like we say, I need a working capital line from the bank. Okay, most of the time the banker probably will ask you back how much you want. Some of your question will be as much as possible lah. Okay, there's no such thing as much as possible. So they will actually go down and drill your account and see what's the gap. Like, what is the gap between your payment to your supplier and when do you receive the payment? So the banker actually will go in and calculate how many days lah, how much is your sales lah. So you actually require this much. You don't require that much. Okay, and also for example, let's say I want to buy this shop lot. 1 million. So does it mean that the bank will actually lend you exactly 1 million? No, because there's always a margin of finance, let's say 85%. So the maximum we can give you for the property financing is 85%. But if you wanted more than this 85%, yes, we can always give you more than this, but that will be in the form of working capital requirement, because I feel that you needed working capital requirement based on my study of your auditor report. There is a financial gap. Okay? Then like tenure. So if you were to looking at asset acquisition, those will be on a long-term basis. Like if you were to buy a factory, buy a shop lot, I think minimum you'll be looking at loan tenure of at least 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. If you were to buy house under individual, it will be 30 years. Okay, so, but working capital will be short-term. It will be usually, most of the time, maximum is 180 days. Then you need to repay. So like for banker acceptance is a form of financing that is a short-term financing that finance working capital requirement. Minimum is 21 days. Maximum is 180 days. Okay, and also type. Okay, later we will go through a list. I will give you some sample of the type of facility and also type of collateral as per bank negara secret explanatory notes. Okay, but most of the time, you will need to like segregate short-term loan, long-term loan. So under long-term loan, there's not much you can play around. Usually it's just term loan. Short-term, you can have a lot, overdraft. Within trade finance, you can have trust receipt, you can have banker acceptance, then you can have promissory notes, a lot of things like factoring. Okay, next thing will be pricing. So if a loan is secured means having collateral tied to it. Unsecured is not having any collateral tied to it. So obviously, when you have collateral tied to your loan, it will definitely be lower risk. So lower risk, lower return, higher risk, higher return. So those with collateral, the pricing will be lower. That is why you see all your mortgage loan, your factory loan is all priced at BRR minus. Okay, whereas those unsecured loan that is totally clean is always BRR plus. It can go up to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11% because to the bank is higher risk because we don't hold any collateral to it. Okay, so there are many forms of collateral. The common one will be fixed deposit, cash margin, properties, shares are common for listed shares. Some of the not so common one you will find vessel, debenture, guarantee, like director's own personal guarantee, corporate guarantee, where the company stand in to guarantee the loan of another company, and also guaranteed by government agency like those SJPP, those government scheme, CGC, that will be another form of collateral. So usually guarantee, the bank doesn't ascribe a value to it except those SJPP, those SJPP at CGC guarantee, the bank will ascribe a value to it because they know that if the loan were to default, the bank can go after and claim after the guarantee. So having said that, although director guarantee, corporate guarantee, we can also claim, but it's something that it doesn't have a tangible value. So the bank will not ascribe a value to it. That's why it will still be called an unsecured loan. Okay, so the next thing is terms and conditions. For example, if you were to buy a property, okay, then the bank probably they will set in the offer letter, like before they draw down the loan for you, what are the things that you will need to comply first before they can draw down, such as submit the SPA, you need to settle the differential sum between the amount of borrowing and also the price of the property. So if let's say the bank were to finance some project, okay, some development project, they may want to see like minimum you need to hit how much sales percentage first before we are comfortable to draw down. Then let's say like project financing, they probably will be like, so we are comfortable to finance 80%. Like for every invoices that come in, we will disperse 80% to you, which means your commitment is 20%, the bank commitment is 80%. So these are some of the terms and conditions that they will think of it, structure, and once the loan is approved, it will be inside the offer letter. So as compared to consumer banking's consumer loan, usually you don't have that much a condition because it's a very standard mass market product. When you talk about credit card is just credit card lah. Then you just use your credit card. Nobody go and read lah the T&C. Okay, like your mortgage loan is pretty much quite standard, the facility agreement. Whereas in business loan, because sometimes it's case to case basis, and sometimes because they finance a particular specific contract, they will have specific terms and conditions tied to the loan. So they even have condition that you need to comply before drawdown. You don't comply this one, you cannot draw down. And also there are some conditions that after drawdown you need to comply. For example, upon drawdown, when you start building, for example, I finance a company to build a factory. So I would say like, okay, I finance 80%. So the first 20% you will need to pay first. So I will need to see you incur the 20% yourself first. So the balance, I will start to draw down 100%, 100% for you. So like for the first time you draw down, you probably say that, oh, I have already built up to this 30% stage. So you will be submitting invoices and everything. So bank will finance against the invoices that's verified by architect, engineer. This will be part of the condition if the bank were to finance construction, like submission of building plan, certified architect plan, maybe some quantity surveyors, what do you call them? Statement that the cost is reasonable. Okay, then after that, every time they do a post release of the subsequent disbursement, they probably will need to check whether you have completed up to this stage. That's why sometimes, and most of the time, the banker is required to go and do a site visit to see. Like for example, you submit an invoice in, you say that you already built up to 50%. So at least the banker, when they do a site visit, they have to see some structure and building up and not just a flat land. If it's just a flat land, definitely you are not at 50%. So these are some of the terms and conditions that is inside the offer letter. So if you would like to know more, they will be in my another course. Okay, today is just a basic.
Still flat land, but view under.
Yes, actually those earthwork are preliminary. So usually when the bank finance a project, they call it bridging finance. Bridging finance they will finance against construction already, like building structure and everything. But there are times that the developer will need some fund to clear the land, to do some earthworks, some preliminary works. Then there will be another smaller fund for those preliminaries. Okay, so there is actually a lot of terms and conditions lah. Okay, so as we come to here, any questions so far?
You have like the whole list of the types of collateral.
Oh yeah, I almost forget. I almost forget. Thanks for reminding the handout. Okay, so these are the list of facilities and collateral as per the Bank Negara explanatory notes of secrets. So have you ever actually pulled your own secrets report? Okay, so you can actually buy, you can actually buy your own statement, then you can see your own credit score and things like that. Okay. Floor stocking is actually a short-term loan that allows the car dealers to stock up and to buy vehicle, whether it's new or old. It will be a line for them to buy vehicles so they can actually resell their vehicles.
Only for vehicle?
Only for car dealer. For vehicles, yes, only for the vehicles.
No other way? You sure?
Yeah. Most of the time it's only for vehicles. If you want to have parts and everything, I think the most suitable one will be using some other form of financing, like maybe some form of overdraft and trade finance.
So if one day I want to have not to say car vehicle, maybe like those big cranes one, this is the loan that I'm looking for.
No. If you want to buy crane and everything, then it will be industrial hire purchase. For your own use. If it's for your own use.
No. For like
you want to resell?
Rent out lah. Not resell, rent out. Because
rent out. Okay, it will be under your own company asset, right? Yeah. You need industrial hire purchase. And if you import the crane from overseas, you probably also need an LC for you to provide to your supplier. Sometimes they require LC for those imports.
Okay.
So for floor stocking, it is only made available to car dealers. Think of those Proton dealer, Honda dealer, Perodua dealer. So whenever you always wonder how they stock up so many cars there, right? So they actually use this floor stocking facility. So every time they want to buy a batch of cars that come in, they actually lock the limit. So once this car is sell off already, then the limit is reimbursed back, open back again. Yeah. So it's like an evergreen line. Okay. Any other question?
What is performance guarantee?
Performance guarantee is something that is very interesting that you will see in a contract. So usually in contract financing, whenever people come and get the financing from the bank, the contract financing is not just the financing part, because awarders sometimes they want to have a form of like guarantee to your performance. So what they will do is, actually, there's a few ways to it. Sometimes they can ask for a bank guarantee. Like if let's say you are a contractor, I am a developer, I award the contract to you. Then inside the contract, the common one, you usually will be, please give me a bank guarantee of how much sum, and usually it will be 5% of the contract value. So it's either you give them this 5% sum to them directly, or the 5% is a lot. Okay, you can go and get bank guarantee facility from the bank. And this bank guarantee, once you get it from the bank, stamp everything, then they will pass it to the principal to tell them that, this is my guarantee. So in the event that you fail your contract, you didn't deliver on time, or they think they have quality issue or whatever, okay, then your principal can call on this guarantee. Means they claim your guarantee and claim the bank to make payment. Okay, so these are some of the type, and also there are some who, example, I cannot get bank guarantee from the bank because lack of track records, I don't get financing from the bank. So what else can you do? What else can you do? So sometimes they go back and negotiate with their principal and saying that I cannot get bank guarantee 5%, but can we do this arrangement? Like every time I invoice you certain amount, you can deduct 5%. You deduct 5% away from my invoice amount, 5%, I build up, eventually there will be 5% of total contract value. And sometimes they hold on to this 5% amount until your contract is completed, until defects liability period are over. Then once everything is over, they are very satisfied with your project delivery, they return back to you. So having said that, performance guarantee is just one type of bank guarantee. Okay, so there are many types of bank guarantee. Okay, in contract, you also have advance payment guarantee. Advance payment guarantee is like, for example, sometimes you get my contract to build a building. Then on top of performance guarantee, I say, hey, I need an advance payment guarantee as well. So I need a 10% or whatever. It's another form of guarantee. So there are also certain type, for example, your supplier. They wanted to supply a goods to you. They probably give you a credit line of 300,000. So long you pay within this 300,000, I will keep giving you goods. If you exceed this 300,000, I will not be giving you goods. So how they actually give you that 300,000 limit? Sometimes they require a bank guarantee from you. So this is like a security to your supplier. So another type of guarantee is like, for example, you have a big factory. You will need to give bank guarantee probably to TMB or whatever for the deposit of the electricity. So sometimes if let's say only 50,000, some of them they will just choose to pay cash. If your deposit is in the form of, let's say, 200,000, and many a times instead of paying cash, the company can choose to issue bank guarantee for, let's say, TMB for the deposit. So your cash flow will not be stuck in the cash that is provided to other party as a collateral. Okay, and then we come to the next part of our module 1 is this 5 C's of credit. This is a very interesting way of evaluate a credit in a very preliminary level. So let's take a look at this video.
The 5 C's of credit can be thought of as a risk management framework that's used by lenders around the world. The 5 C's are character, capacity, capital, collateral, and conditions. By mastering our understanding of these 5 C's, we can more effectively and more holistically assess the strength of a borrower request. Character speaks to the reputation and the credibility of a debtor. For commercial clients, the borrower is a business entity, not a person, so the reputation of management and ownership are assessed instead. A common proxy to evaluate a borrower's likelihood of future loan repayment is their repayment history, so a credit report is often employed. Capacity refers to the borrower's ability to service debt obligations with future cash flow. For a commercial borrower, a creditor would evaluate the company's competitive advantages, as well as different coverage ratios like debt service coverage and/or interest coverage. Personal lenders compare debt payments to personal income. Human credit professionals will also employ sensitivity analysis here, like test or qualifying rates. Capital is all about the borrower's overall financial strength, including alternative sources of liquidity. Are there other assets that can be liquidated to create cash if required? And is there the potential to get a personal or a corporate guarantee in support of a borrowing request? Collateral is a big one. What, if any, physical security is available to backstop the proposed exposure? The nature of any collateral assets will factor heavily into how credit is structured. And conditions. This one is broad but critical. A lender will want to understand the purpose of the credit being requested, or the conditions that necessitate the borrowing, as well as forces in the external environment that may impact the borrower and their ability to repay. Factors like interest rates and broader macroeconomic conditions.
Okay, so what are the 5 C's? What are the 5 C's?
Character,
Collateral.
Credit.
There's no credit.
condition,
There's no credit.
Condition.
Condition is the last one. The first one is already.
Ta-da!
Character.
Okay, so the 5 C's of credit. Actually, if you would ask any banker, I think the most important thing is the character of course, like the ability to repay, the financial stability, everything is important. But if you were to ask any banker that's long enough in the industry, they will actually tell you that actually character is the most important factor when they assess the loan. So, so what do you need to do in assessing the character? Like, there's actually a lot of ways. Sometimes that's why site visit is always very important. Whenever we actually dish out loans to especially business, especially the amount is very big, you want to finance some mega projects, you will need to do a site visit, talk to the actual owner, because there are times that when you visit clients, sometimes the owner are proxy, or sometimes the owners are not there. And I've personally seen before. Like, for example, I went and see a client, then someone was being introduced as the owner, but the one that keep talking and telling you about the purpose why they didn't need it is someone else that is called consultant sitting beside. So you will be asking yourself whether the borrower, like the actual owner itself, know what he's doing, like or he's just a proxy, or he's just someone like an investor and things like that, or whether it is a show they're being put up to actually con the bank to actually lend them money. So there are many times that the bank finance certain loan, and when the loan is disbursed, the people run away because it was never meant to be actual business. It was like a con job to begin with. So we always wanted to lend to people with integrity, and then also modest lifestyle, has the market reputation and the willingness to repay. That is why
Market reputation.
market reputation. How do you do so far? Okay, how do you do market? How do you verify or validate their market reputation? How?
Social media.
You can go and see the social media, whether drive a lot of luxurious car. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, then actually I think you can actually ask around. And then I can ask a lawyer, because the lawyer should know a lot of people. So what I did back then in banks, some of the ways that we do trade check against some people's character is we ask a lawyer. Because a lawyer, there will be some lawyer very famous one, like you always mention Siu Lapa. Those in the market they know who is who, then they can tell you all their grandfather, grandmother story, how many yilai they have, that kind of thing. Or they can tell you things like, oh, this owner always go up to Genting to gamble one. You better be careful.
And it's a lousy lawyer though. It's not a lawyer.
Maybe it's not their customer. It's not their customer.
this is not
But still, it's
ethical.
ethical one.
I mean, sometimes you can actually trade check with the supplier. Like, for example, if you look at their creditor debtor aging, right? Creditor aging. Then you notice that, hey, this particular company, this particular company, I know the owner. So you see, oh, these are your creditor. So actually, what is this? Okay, so I actually, sorry, how to this thing? Okay, so I actually call and ask the supplier, hey, do you know this particular company, ABC Sdn Bhd? So, oh, what they buy from you and things like that. How is their payment like? Sometimes they will tell you things like, oh, their payment is really very good one, on time one, blah, 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 blah. Some of them, they probably will tell you that, no comment. When they say, I think if you want to lend them small amount, I think okay lah. Big amount, you better don't lah. You know, that kind of comment. Or sometimes they will tell you that, wow, payment not good lah. This one drag me all the payment. So these are some of the things that you think we don't check, we check. Or then there are times that what if these are not my account? I know that, hey, this is my colleague account. I actually get my colleague to help me to check instead. Or then there are times that I also pretend before one. Okay, I look at the supplier checklist, whatever. Okay, let's say there is this company XYZ Sdn Bhd in.
But
Then
entertain you when you call the supplier.
yes. If the supplier is the one that you really know one, sometimes they will tell you. Some that you don't know one, sometimes also they will try to help them. So I also tried to call before those that are not my own client. So when I call them, I say, actually I straight away tell them I'm calling from the bank, I want to do a trade check, how is their payment like and things like that. Then sometimes they will just tell you that okay, payment okay, things like that. So
you
these are
don't your phone and think they are scammer.
Nowadays maybe will be tough lah. Back then my time, I think I am able to do the trade check. So the one that is common, usually I look for people who know me first lah. I know them one, so it's easier to do trade check. Sometimes I know they are known to my colleague. I get my colleague to do trade check. Okay. Then there are times that how to off this thing. Wait,
Well, this is actually a group chat.
wait.
This is your computer.
Okay, so then there are times that I get my colleagues to help me to do trade checking. And apart from that, I think to know one's character, the most important thing is to actually take a look at the secret CTOS report. So in secrets, you can actually see the repayment record, not just on the company, as well as the director, shareholder, and CTOS, you see whether they are suing anyone suing them, what are they being sued for. Sometimes you see CTOS, you will see that people get sued for because they owe payment, EPF contribution to their staff, all this so and things like that. So this is an indication of a very bad character, I would say. So would you want to lend to someone that you know that, hi, even your staff salary, EPF contribution also you owe. You can be owing for 6 months, but you're still running the business like usual. So these are some of the red flags that you know they have this integrity issue. So many a times, so we see the common one is not just people sue you for contractual abuse, for contractual dispute, it can be like from LHDN for not making taxes payment, those EPF contribution and things like that. The one that will appear in your CTOS is when they sue, or alternatively, another one will will appear at trade reference. For example, if you subscribe to some Maxis subscription or whatever, then you want to cancel, those days you subscribe for 1-2 years, then you cannot cancel, then you don't want to make payment. They put a hit in your CTOS. So it will appear in your trade reference. Many a time that I see appear in trade reference are those Digi Cellcom Maxis all those not making payment one. And also sometimes if a client were to owe me for very, very long and I cannot get back my sum of money from this particular person, I can contact CTOS and actually put a hit under the trade. I may not need to sue him, but I can put a hit under the trade reference and tell them that there's a remark. Then usually when, as a banker, when I saw all these trade reference, right, if there is a reference number and also contact number, actually I will call. I will call this particular contact number and trade reference and ask actually what's going on, what's the status of these particular cases. So sometimes they will tell you are ongoing because they never pay me for 6 months. Amount outstanding is how much. All these are. You need to contact CTOS to put in. Then you need to provide evidence, provide like your correspondence, your invoices and everything. So it may not appear in the CTOS as litigation, but it can appear as a trade reference. So it may not really hit them badly, but it is a consideration for the bank to think twice whether they want to lend to such character. Okay? Secrets is another thing. If you occasionally see missing out payment 2, 3 months, so you know it's a behavior already. Because you know that once you give them the loan, they will display same kind of character, like by not paying you every 2, 3 months. Okay? So what appears in secrets report is not just lending, it's not just credit card. Nowadays, if business owner were to get loan from fintech, those P2P lending, it will actually appear there as well. And those that actually owe PTPTN loan will appear as well. So I've seen before client that shows 50 months in areas. Then when I ask, what is this? Because he himself also don't know what is this. Then when he find out that it's actually PTPTN loan. So now many loans can appear in your secrets already. So you better need to check occasionally, check your credit score, check your own secrets and clean up. Because if you the fastest way to clean out your this record is settle. Once you settle the entire loan, the entire line will disappear from the secrets report. Okay? So this is the correct.
Within the year or so,
No. For things that you settled, it should disappear from the secrets line. But if for something that settle as in full settlement. If you only settle like the areas, like I owe 3,000, 9,000, but my loan is 500,000. I only settled that 9,000. Yes, it will stay there for 12 months because the secrets record is 12 months. Unless you settle everything, by right, you should close off the entire thing. So, pardon?
immediately
Okay, the cycle of reporting, it's I think within 10 to 15. So usually, like if you were to make payment, okay, you need to make the payment before the end of the month because the bank negara will update the secrets report by 10 to 15. So usually we at bank, we will do the secrets checking, we refresh the checking again on the 15th. So now, okay? So these are some of the, can hear or not? Can. Okay. So okay. So the next one that we are going to talk about is about capacity. Okay. So capacity is about the capability of the company in generating cash flow to repay your borrowing. So that's why they always say that the cash flow is the most important thing for a company. So you can have very beautiful profits, but you may not have the cash flow. For example, you may be making millions of profits, but your profits could be stuck in collection because your customers are not paying you. So this will also affect your repayment capacity. Although in the bank, okay, identify repayment source and first way out. So usually when the bank, they identify the first way out is to actually look at your repayment source, which often boils down to the profit lah. Okay, the profit. So the rough way is because they always equate profit with your cash, but actually it's different because you may have, when they assess the loan, they will be looking at the repayment capability based on EBITDA. Can you hear? Oh. Sorry, the rain is way too loud now. Okay. But often than not, they will actually look at your cash flow statement to see whether you have positive cash flow, and also many a time they will be looking at how much cash you have in the bank. Say you always fluctuate, you always use a lot of overdraft, that you don't have cash balance in the bank one. So your credit profile actually will be a little bit weaker compared to someone that has millions of cash in the bank. So this is true. If you let's say under consumer mortgage, right? If you don't have many net worth to show to the bank, sometimes they will ask for a lot of documentary evidence. But if you have like millions of net worth to show, you have millions of FT, shares, unit trust, most of the time it's very easy for you to get loan. Because let's say you are only borrowing 500,000, but if they take a look at, wow, your net worth, you got 5 million, anytime you can settle my 500,000. So this is the capacity, okay? And also assess the repayment sources reliability. So if you are relying on something that is like providing income to you from the future, you need to do cash flow projection, you need to provide cash flow projection analysis. What kind of thing that is depending on repayment sources from the future, such as contract financing, your development, because today I embark on this mega million projects, I may need to incur a lot of things upfront, but I may only get my income later on. Or what if my sales is slow, then I may not be able to get my income that fast. Like for example, if we were to launch a condo project, so the projection can be like, oh, I anticipate my project 2 months, 2 months I can sell finish already. But in reality, maybe it's more than 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. So the bank will see whether you have the capability. In the event that your sales is slow, so they do some sensitivity analysis to see that, oh, based on your cash flow, if I were to slow down the income coming in, how much deficit you incur. So if the deficit is something that is reasonable according to your profile, like you have 10 million net worth, the deficit is 2 million, that is reasonable. But if I were to do some sensitivity and I drag here, drag there, then I notice that, wow, the gap is 10 million, but your net worth is only 5 million. Where are you going to cover this 5 million? Like for example, this 10 million. So the bank will ask themselves whether, although I can see that your project is, let's say, got potential, but if you don't show me the capacity that you can ride through the storm, this is something that maybe the bank didn't even want to go in to begin with, because they feel like, yeah, I think your project is in a very good location. I think it can sell. But what if the sales is slow? You may not be able to cover. Once you may not be able to cover, NPL will come. So there's a lot of condition, a lot of consideration to it, okay? So next will be your capital, like how much you contribute in comparison to how much the bank put in. For example, if let's say you want the bank to finance you the purchase of factory, bank will not finance you 100% because they want to see commitment from the owner itself. So maybe the bank will only finance 80% or 90%. They want to see the 10% or 20% coming from the business owner. So just like any project that you want to embark on, like I want to start this project contract that I want to deliver to military, some military project, let's say, to the government. So the bank will not come in and finance you 100% because the bank wants to see commitment from you. So they want to see like how much you are willing to put on the table, because they believe that if you really believe in your own business and project and you feel that, hey, my project won't fail, definitely you will dare to put in your own money. If you dare not put in your own money, everything you want the bank to finance, they feel like you don't have confidence even in your own contract because you're scared that in the event you fail and everything, you won't be able to pay. So this is capital fund, capital. So capital can be in the form of not just the amount of funds that you have it within the company. It can be also from the shareholder, from whoever they want to support. You may have some investor or whatever that come in. So then there are times that you see director, if it's a new setup, director is ready to pump in 10 million, 10 million, 10 million in. So they show you the advance of 10 million into the project. This gives bank the confidence that you are very confident with the project, because right in front, even without bank financing, you have already pumped 10 million into the project. This also gives confidence to the bank that you will make it a success. And also capital is like, for example, if there is a cost overrun, when you can have analysis, you can have a projection. So what if, let's say, raw material cost went up by 10%? So your project costing will go up by 10%. Whether this company or the owner, the founder, have the capability to withstand all these fluctuation. Let's say project cost went up by 10%, labor cost went up by 10%, minimum wage increase already. Because today, the bank will finance you this amount only, just like that. So bank, at the end of the back end, the bank will also do some sensitivity analysis. If price were to increase 10%, labor cost increase 10%, or your sales is slow by 10%, or you don't get that much of sales, whether you can stomach the risk, stomach the fluctuation. So all these are the capital. So in conclusion, if you have very strong capital, then you stand a higher chance because your risk is actually lower. But if you are undercapitalized in a way, if you are undercapitalized, so which means your net worth is not that strong, so that doesn't mean that you cannot get a financing. It's just that probably the bank will adjust a little bit. The amount will be less, the financing margin will be less. or they shorten the loan tenure or whatever to reduce their risk. Okay, and also another one is the collateral. So collateral, it shouldn't be the main reason you finance a company, because people always think that, yeah, I give you this property lah. This property is worth 1 million. This property is worth 1 million. I only want to borrow 500,000. So they'll be thinking that, hey, what is there to worry? So let's say bank rejected the request. So most of the time, applicant will be thinking, hey, what is there to worry? I charge a property of 1 million to you, but I only want a 500,000. You still got buffer of 500,000 there. So, but bank is good. It's good to have a collateral as a second way out. It shouldn't be the reason why the bank finance, because the bank, I think the first thing that the bank wanted is you must have the capability to repay, self-sustain. Your operating cash flow can self-sustain to pay the loan. So collateral will come second. Okay, and also next one will be condition. Just now we talked a little bit about terms and conditions that you will need to fulfill before the loan can be disbursed. But apart from that, the bank also look at the macro condition. What are the things that can possibly affect your capability to generate income? It may not be your problem, but it can be due to the changes in a macro environment, changes in a policy, changes in government policy. Like for example, if you import car, changes in approved permit policy, all this AP, then it will affect you. Let's say you are doing some construction related thing, then they will be looking at ESG. Nowadays, they are talking about ESG stuff. So if you are in palm oil industry, the bank will be looking at whether your palm oil is a sustainable one. So they will ask you whether you got this MSPO certification, because if you don't have, then it will affect your business opportunity and also your capability to earn income. So what are some other, okay, for example, if you were to trading with US or China, how does this trade war can affect your business? Because when all this affect your business, it affects your business income generating capability. And also, what if, let's say you are supplying to a country in Middle East, whether the war will affect the shipment, will affect the incoming of what's it, or let's say you trade with Myanmar. So when Myanmar have this junta taking over the political regime, whereby they stop all the funds from flowing out of the country, it can actually affect your repayment capability, because you cannot get payment. You cannot get payment from your trading partner. So whenever, let's say we finance somebody, we actually also look at who are their trading partners. If let's say they trade with those low risk country, the risk is even lower. If let's say we see there's a high concentration, they trade with Cambodia lah, they actually send their goods to Afghanistan lah, or whatever. We may need to elevate the credit to a high risk credit due to their trading partner or the country they deal with, because all this political change in their government can actually cause them not getting their repayment. So these are some of the conditions that can affect the credit. And also local competition. How saturated is the competition? So if let's say you are a monopoly, then people will be thinking that good, because if a monopoly, you will conduct a very good profit margin. But if you're in a market that is like very competitive, like now bubble tea, everyone is also doing bubble tea lah, everywhere also bubble tea. So how long is your rate of return, your return to equity, return on investment? Because when the bank lends you money, they always wanted to see the future prospect, the repayment capability, and that will be the first way out. So, okay, so having said that, right, these are the main 5 C's that the bank usually look at. So collateral, just now when we actually go through this listing, right? Okay, if we take a look at this listing, so I would like to just mention the common one usually will be fixed deposit and cash. That will be in where is cash? Other financial assets. They will fall under other financial assets. Okay. So other thing that can be collateral is the common with properties. Okay, quoted shares will be like if you have you're holding shares of listed company. Unquoted shares, all these are shares of non-listed company. So although theoretically it can be pledged to the company, but practically it's very hard to actually get unquoted share as a collateral. So bank doesn't actually really like to take unquoted shares as a collateral because you cannot ascribe value to it. How are you going to value? And can you sell? If anything were to happen, can you sell? Can. It's actually difficult because it's not liquid. You cannot sell it in a liquid market. You need to find a buyer to actually buy this company, to save this company. Why does the bank want to go through the hassle to help you to find buyers so that they can get back their money? So some other types of collateral are like if you buy vehicles, it will be your motor vehicles, plant machinery, financial guarantee, and also if you look at this negative pledge. Negative pledge is something like it's not really a tangible security, but it's more like you will give the benefit to this bank first. Like for example, my if I want to get future borrowing, I will always give the first right of refusal to this particular bank first. Then if you refuse to lend to me, then I can get it from other banks. Okay? So yeah, any question before we take a break? Okay, then let's take a half-hour break. Oh, before I forget, please sign the attendance form and also pass it back to me. Okay, thanks. Okay, welcome back. So now let's play some more interesting, energizing activity after a very boring financial analysis and case study session. Okay, come let's play some bingo. A credit-related bingo.
Bingo.
Yeah. Okay, you know how to play, right? So I'll be reading out some random words lah. So whoever get the first cross of line first, then you'll win now. Okay?
I thought 5.
Why cross of line so long? It's supposed to be
1, 2, 3.
It's 5 ma. 5 times 5 ma.
Okay, okay.
Okay, see who will get the first one.
One line.
One line. Oh, one line. Very fast, right?
5 line.
No, like cross like that. I think you better get 2 line. If one line too fast, finish already. Or you want 3 line?
Okay.
3 line. 3 line.
Wait, what we get first?
Means like you got 1 line.
No,
two line.
what we get first.
Oh, snap. So to keep you awake.
Fair enough.
Okay, 3 line to get 3 line. Okay, first capacity. Okay, next. Next, fixed deposit. Next, market risk. Next, term loan.
Term loan.
Next, character. 3 line. 3 line. Next, SWOT analysis. Okay, next, project financing.
Oh, is it really so far? Really, not so far.
Okay, next, trade finance. Liquidity. Cash flow.
Flow. Come on. Tenor.
Then purposely don't want to give you tenure. Okay.
It's okay. I got the option.
Okay, next, collateral.
Collateral, okay.
Next, first way out.
Conditional.
Profitability.
Credit.
Got 1 line already.
Wow.
Walao eh.
Working capital. Asset turnover. Asset turnover.
How am I not having 1 line yet?
2 line. 0 line.
I got 2 line.
Boy. Okay, fixed asset. Tenure lah. 哎呀，可怜 you, I give you tenure lah.
Don't have that. Oh, okay, 1 line.
Okay, next. Quick ratio.
Okay, game.
Huh? Done.
Wait,
So fast?
Wah, tipu.
Okay, let me check first. 1, 2, 3. Wow, so fast. Oh, this is called Diam Diam Ubi Berisi, you know. Nah, enjoy your snack. You play so long, only 5 minutes. Okay.
Play the game.
What? Play the game. Then I will want to make it to 4 line like that.
Huh?
4 line. If you want to continue, you have to make it to 4 line.
Supposed to be 5 line.
But 5 line, everybody will win to at the same time. What?
Yeah.
Correct. So let's continue. So we just recap a little bit lah. Actually, this bingo game is to recap a little bit of what we have learned just now, and also some of the little thing that we are going to learn soon. Okay? So, set 了的哦。
Do you charge or not?
还是说你的 computer you need to charge it?
Okay.
But you charge, then just now you didn't do the setting. You need to go back to the setting again.
But 还有很多啊，因为我看
I think the script is not only the computer. I think the slide also know how to script. This is what PPT PPTX
No, like she's using online one.
online or Google slide Google slide
the Microsoft
Microsoft online Okay. Microsoft 打包
Why? Okay what?
打包
Why? Okay what? Okay, so in this module, we will be talking about management integrity. Okay, the qualitative part lah. Just now we've gone through the very boring basic credit relationship and the most boring quantitative analysis that have you do all the financial analysis of the company. So now we go to not so boring stuff called qualitative analysis, which is management integrity and competence. And SWOT analysis, I think this is generally, I think everybody knows it. All the business, when you study business marketing, you have conducted SWOT analysis before, and also other credit risks. Okay. So, management integrity and competence. So can you please tell me, like, what are the things, if you were to lend to somebody, what are the things that you will be looking at? Is it on me reading the slide law?
Collateral
Oh, you remember?
Character.
Character and character law, correct or not? Character and character law.
No, not credit.
Capital.
Yeah.
Okay. So character, how do you assess character?
See the person 有税 or not.
Okay, and then?
The behavior of payment.
How do you see the behavior of payment?
Either decrease lah, it's either their supplier lah, it's just 有税 or not lah. Most important.
Okay, apart from 用税, what do you think?
Check the loan payment schedule, whether he's always on schedule or before schedule or after schedule.
Oh, this one got pay attention one. Just not got pay attention one. Okay, Alex.
Yeah, good student.
Yeah, Alex, what else? Based on management, we're just talking about management integrity and competence.
I think still the same just see did he pay that on time?
Okay. So based on past experience of the management, usually how do we look at the past experience of the management?
Past experience of management, can call and ask.
Okay, you can interview, you can get a company profile, you can check on LinkedIn. Okay, and also other thing that usually we ask for company profile that see what are the list of let's say project they have done. Let's say they are in the line of construction, or say project development. You can actually ask for a profile that they can list out all their past projects that they have completed lah, how many lah, how much contract value lah, GDV lah, what kind of development that they have completed. Because example, let's say today they ask you, hey, I want to finance a condo. But if you look at their track record for the past, all that you build now are factory. So you may have track record in development, but all your past development is building factory. So now you want to go into this 100 billion GDV condominium. So do they have the necessary track record to complete the project? Okay, so based on that, so you will notice that some of the management, maybe the company is new, like they only probably have 3 to 5 years, 3 years experience, but you can actually look at the management on personal, their individual experience. Maybe they have been working for this particular company in this industry for the past 10 years or 20 years. Now that they come out and set up their own business, and then the client is from their former company. Okay, technical qualifications. If they are in the line of, let's say, contractor, whether the owner, the director, or any management team, they themselves have the technical qualifications like an engineer or whatever. Are they CIDB, registered contractor? What kind of grade? Okay. If not, what do you think? What do you think? If you are a bank, and let's say they come to you, they want you to finance 100 billion construction project. Then when you look at the experience, Langsong don't have experience before.
But if let's say the whole organization, everyone is very well known, very like well known, then the credibility is there.
Define your well known, and how you define the well known and the credibility.
Okay, if you talk about developer, who are the famous ones here?
Sunway lah, SB Setia lah.
These are very big. Someone who are?
Eco lah.
Someone?
I
I don't also very big. Smaller bit.
Smaller Clan Group one.
No.
碧桂园 咯 the China.
Hey, that one start with A one. It's right idea.
Is
Is it? No. No.
Yeah,
You
your A
know,
law.
I need to bring that name for you.
Why? Why is it so
Because
particular?
I'm going to use that example because the ownership of the whole business they're not from this background.
Okay. Okay, so what if all of them are not from this background? Is it totally cannot
Then
lend
of
to?
course, totally cannot lah. If all
Oh.
come from this background. If you talk about the owner or the boss, if they don't have the technical qualifications, but they've been running the business for so many years.
Can they hire
Huh?
technical? Can they hire someone?
Yeah, that's what I meant lah. I mean, the boss and the owner, they don't have these qualifications, but all their workers and staff are all very well known.
Yes, they have a team of professional in their organized structure. Can be considered. For example, if let's say the owner are investor. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you also look at the net worth of the owner and the director. If let's say the owner has got 100 million net worth one, then they finance in this, then they start up this development project or this construction project. Then they get in a director, which he probably doesn't hold a share, but they give him a directorship, or maybe he's a key senior management. He is a very seasoned employee back in some other development company. He has got experience running this for the past 20 years. As long as they are inside the management profile, these are all other things that we consider, because at the end of the day, you don't just look at a bit side off from this. You don't look at things silo. You look at things in combination. Apart from management, their net worth, let's say the project, whether it's in a very good location, is the location itself already sellable? If the location is so good that you know that very likely it can be snapped up within minutes, something like that. Or if let's say they are doing a very affordable range of development, like something that they price everything below 500,000. So you'll know that this type of product can sell like hotcakes. So these are things that you actually consider in totality on top of management, technical qualification. Another next thing that we actually look at in management is having a succession in place. So you wouldn't want to lend to a company that you see all the directors are already 60, 70 years old. So if let's say today they want to buy a factory, requesting for a loan of 20 years. Although generally, company we lend to because we believe in the ongoing basis of the company. The company will continue to operate, not like if you lend to individual basis. If you lend to individual basis, you know that after 60, he or she will retire, and then 69, and okay. So, but company, you still go down and look at the management age. So you wouldn't want to lend to a company that all of them is already at 60, 70 of age. And if they are 60, 70 of age, no issue if they have got successor. Maybe their son, daughter came back from overseas, been working in the company for a few years, being groomed to take over the helm of the company. One is in charge of accounting, one is in charge of business development. Although they are not being made a director yet or a shareholder yet, but at least we see they are successor in the company. So this gives extra comfort to the bank. Yes. Any question?
Successor have to be family of director.
Yeah, most of the time it's better to be, but if you are not, it can be some young people that is like maybe the nephew, maybe the niece, maybe the wife, brother, something like that, brother-in-law, somebody. Yeah, related. But if let's say they really cannot, then at least in the context of listed company can. Some of the listed company, public bank, their children just don't want to go back for the business. But since they are public listed, they can always hire a team of professional personnel to run it. So that one is okay. Okay. So this is a recap. How do we do a market check on reputation?
Market check.
Secrets detox.
Search for any negative news. This
Mhm.
company. Online.
Like whenever something pop up, like for example, certain company get chased after by the authority for questioning because of involving MACC questioning because of bribery concern. So these are the things that the bank will typically temporarily pull back on any credit facility granted earlier. And also, what else? Check with?
Ask your supplier.
Yes. Check with lawyer. Check with
Check with an unethical lawyer.
what do you mean by ethical lawyer?
A lawyer shouldn't even say any single thing about their client or other people's client. Because by the end of the day, they are the person that is abiding with laws. So it's actually very unethical. But you're in Malaysia, so
yes, and because some of these lawyers, their biggest client is the bank. Because bank dish out loan for them. So at the end of the day, they will provide some form, because whatever loan that we lend out to, we actually get all these lawyers to perform the legal documentation, whether things are in order or not. So they need to provide opinion whether the legal documentation is completed.
Yeah. You just value good or not good only. That's all. Who father, mother sleep, who is going to tell one. They only can just write a report that good or not good. That's all.
Okay, so you can actually get verbal check like that. If they're uncomfortable to pen it down black and white, you can always call them. Give drink coffee with them to find out more about who and who. Do you know this particular project went to who? Because probably they have some first-hand information by doing the SMP for this particular developer. Another contract.
So your it's all developing one. Even the lawyers also is all like those contract lawyers lah.
I've done many types property lah, bridging lah, contract lah, TMB contract lah, oil and gas a little bit, here there lah. But mostly, generally, we'll be working capital financing.
You really know all this, right?
Property.
Have you ever thought of like Sendiri go and do all this one and then just borrow bank loan?
I'm a very ethical person. What do you?
To unethical lawyers.
But I have to make sure that I'm a very ethical person. Okay, so any question before I go to the next slide? Okay, so I think everybody has done SWOT analysis before. So what is SWOT? SWOT stands for?
Snake.
Strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats.
Okay, so not only in your uni days you learn about this SWOT analysis. You'll be surprised that in bank we actually did perform SWOT analysis as well. But of course, not generally Okay, but not every bank they literally pen down their SWOT analysis in their paper. But in RHB, yes, I've been in RHB for 4 years. For 4 years, and in RHB, I actually do all this SWOT analysis in my paper. And some other bank, they are not performing SWOT analysis. They may be doing some industry value chain analysis. Where are you? Are you in the upstream, middle stream, what stream? And some of them, they do a little bit of Michael Porter analysis, but they rebrand, rename it in some other thing like risk analysis or demand analysis kind of thing. Okay, so before I go on further, so what are the things that you think are potentially okay? Before I go further, strength and weaknesses is more of an internal thing that define whether you're strong or you're weak. Okay, whereas opportunity trade is more of an external cause, external environment causing, giving you opportunity or giving you a threat. So what are the potentially strength that you can think of that a company has?
Cash flow.
Yes,
Market
cash flow is
share.
very important. Market share, the tai lo in the company, the tai lo in the industry.
Revenue.
Brand value.
Mr. Larry,
Yeah, financial record.
financial track record. Yes. Actually, I think having a successor is also an internal strength, you know.
Sorry?
Yeah. Having a successor.
No.
No, not really.
Having a good successor. Okay. Having a good successor.
Finding a good successor is very difficult because you're not in the field, especially you're a banker. So for me, track record, history is still more important than the successor lah. Yeah.
Yes.
Because you know whether the successor is successful or not. But the record, if the company record all this while is like this, good. Paymaster, good. Credit, God. Cash, God. Sales, always like this on par. Then okay.
But the record can be good because the management is there. Maybe some very good management or leader is there. So what if the leader is no longer there?
Sorry?
So I say the record can be good.
I agree, but I still disagree.
Okay.
Because sometimes for a company, like for example, certain things it's selling because it's a demand, it's selling. So no matter whether you have any kind of marketing or you have any kind of like management, doesn't actually affect.
That one is you have a good product. That's a strength. Then your company have a good product that can sell itself.
Yeah, in a way, yes.
So that's also something that you can see now, whether it's a service or a product wise. But again, if a company can manage for quite some time, that has a good reputable, whatever it is, reputation that they have, and the credit scores are all good, don't you think that the company will find a way to let this thing keep auto running?
But there are also times that very strong company, they can just collapse overnight, like Nokia.
Nokia, the one is different already.
Not overnight.
Not overnight, but they eventually also collapse.
For successor, I think like maybe from the outside you might think that this successor is a good successor, but maybe within the company it's like this is a shitty successor.
Okay.
Yes.
Since you talk about Nokia, also it's a good thing. For example, if Nokia now, we all know Nokia is going downhill, correct? Imagine if Nokia today, I hire a whole bunch of everyone from Samsung and Apple. Then I'm coming out with a whole new batch of series of headphones. Would you invest in me? Or would you loan me?
We'll look at the prospect. Let's say we think that, this new line and everything can actually revamp, and the people they bring in has got a track record and experience.
You will still see last time, how is my record, correct? As a Nokia.
Yes.
So this you will still see that.
I understand what you mean. Actually, having a track record is very important. Yes, bank definitely look at past track record, but past track record can change. So having said that, does it mean that any company that doesn't have track record is not a bankable deal?
Unless if your project is very
feasible,
collaterable, can really sell on, or like what you mentioned, it's not in the market, it's off market, it's something.
It's like special, growing one. Okay.
But those, instead of looking for bank funds, you can get from investors.
Yes, VC and everything. That's why generally banks are more traditional. If you have those very high risk, very new, not proven track record on, usually they will go for those private equity, VC first. So bank traditionally they are more risk averse. They lend to those more proven one because they are taking care of your money, my money, everyone's money. So they are actually more prudent in a sense.
I don't think the bank cares about money.
Don't say like that. I care about all of your money back then. Okay, now I can no longer care because I'm no longer in the bank. Okay, so let's look at some of the potential internal strengths that actually list down here. Okay, holding a patent, yes, because it can actually stop your competitor. It's not totally stop. Of course, they can have copycat and things like that. But it is that it forms some protective barrier if you have a patent. Okay, then assured supply of scarce raw materials from parent companies. Some of them, if they have a solid source of raw material, then they can ensure maybe their production timeline, their production budgeting and things like that. Cost advantages these are one of the things that some people, if let's say they choose where they are when they position themselves. I'm the cheapest in the market. Some people, they just don't want to be the cheapest in the market. I'm the LV, I'm the Chanel of the industry. So see where you position yourself. So that you must have a unique proposition of your own company. So like certain bank, they actually look at certain business model, unique proposition. Where is their unique proposition? Because they want to see your sustainability. Whether today, yes, you have track record, but I need to see your business can sustain to the future. So other things will be like access to economies of scale. Maybe you already have the volume, so you can actually bulk purchase things, so your cost is literally cheaper, or because of economy of scale, you have certain fixed costs. After this fixed cost, after this volume, it will be a lot of profit margin coming to you. Okay, some other thing will be like a proven management and track record, like you mentioned, adequate financial resources. This ties back to the capacity of the company, financial capability, and knowledge market leader. You could be like the first the biggest the oldest in the market. You've been doing this coffee thing for the past 100, 200 years. You have got 100, 200 years of track record to shout for. Okay, better manufacturing capability that increase efficiency compared to your competitor, and also a unique proposition. You may have something like a milkshake that can last longer, that kind of thing. So come to a potential internal weakness. So what are the things that you think are considered a weakness if it appears in a company?
Any threat.
Any threat?
Any threat.
Any threat?
Internal.
Weakness. We haven't gone to the threat yet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Internal weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Human being.
Yeah, error. That's why nowadays we are opting for automation to reduce the error, reduce human error, handling error.
What is falling behind R&D considered as a weakness?
Like Nokia, everybody already move forward to latest technology. They probably feel like, no, mine is the greatest, my product is the greatest. They didn't want to innovate and things like that, so they fall behind.
Oh, that's what you meant by fall behind.
Yeah.
I thought fall behind already takes a long time. Because they already have things.
Okay. So what are the other weaknesses that you can think of that are probably not there?
Human being.
Okay, we are still in internal weakness. Okay.
Undercapitalization.
When you don't have enough capital, you cannot withstand any storm. Like for example, if price were to shoot up 10%, labor costs were to go up by 20%, you already cannot tahan already.
They shouldn't do the business. Right.
Maybe they just starting, maybe they just begin, like dependence on external technology. Maybe your line of industry is really very dependent. So if you don't keep up to the pace of technology, then you will lose out. So these are probably some of the things. Okay, big distribution network, probably you only do direct selling. I know one particular, what you call that, a publisher, a book publisher. Because of the arrangement that they have back then, they signed a certain contractual agreement with their principal in overseas. They can only distribute the books through the way of direct selling. So today they are slowly losing market. 20 years ago, when my brother was their direct selling agent, right? It's really very good business because those days they can go door to door sales, go to every resident house and knock. And those days you got a lot of housewives stay at home and they don't really worry that much about scam. So you just go and ding dong, I'm selling this encyclopedia and and this is how much we got installment plan. Those days, 20 years ago, is actually quite good business. They can do this way. But today, if you were to go, firstly, gated guarded, you cannot go in. Second, even if you can go in, I think people also probably think you are a scammer. Third, you ding dong 24 hours, okay, you probably ding dong there 1 hour, also nobody will open the door for you because nowadays everybody, the husband and wife is working. So I actually see this particular company, they used to have very good market share, command very good market share. A lot of kids at home, they are using their books But nowadays they actually struggle to find way to survive, or to say, not to say to survive but to find way to position themselves in the market. So we actually thought of, why didn't you try to use other distribution channel like Shopee, Lazada, whatever digital? But they cannot. Because their original agreement is they're only allowed to distribute via direct selling. So what they do now is they can only set up pop-up store like those in an event in a shopping mall. Then they actually introduce to Big Bad Wolf. They really got their, you cannot be standing in front of a Big Bad Wolf. I don't know. So they just go to the malls and then introduce to parents about the books. And sometimes I notice that the mall that they choose, also the traffic was not really there, because the one that have a lot of traffic, I think probably the rental is very expensive. So you choose the one that the rental is not there, but you don't get the traffic and volume. So things that can be very promising 20 years ago, if we didn't keep up with the changes in the market, it can be a weakness today. And just now you mentioned falling behind in R&D. One good example would be the Nokia. No clear strategic direction. When you have got too many directors and very firm, each of them have very firm. One wanted to go into, let's say they're in the F&B. One wanted to go into hotpot. The other one say, no, I want to put in more focus in dim sum or whatever. Then when you as a banker, you go there, so what is your focus and what is your next plan? What is your plan ahead? One is telling you this one, the other one is telling me nothing. So you'll be thinking that, well, you don't have a clear direction. If I were to lend this money to you, there's a high possibility there will be a shareholder dispute and things like that. So that's why sometimes when you have too many shareholders, too many directors, too many decision makers in a company, it can be also causing dispute. Okay, poor track record, definitely something you wouldn't want to, even if your brother who never repay you your money, every time he asks borrowing from you, never repays you, you also learn your lesson. You never want to lend to him again. If you
But sometimes for brother you cannot lend, cannot own.
Never.
No, but if let's say he really never repay, and then the more you help him, the more you lend to him, the bigger his hole is. Actually, you're not helping him. You're digging a big hole for him to jump in.
Unless something like suddenly happen, like very, very troublesome one, then okay, I can understand like sickness accident hospital bill.
Yes.
But the usual behaviors are behavior.
If let's say they always fail in their business, every time he fails is when they come and ask 100,000, then next time 200,000, next time I want to pinjam 300,000, next time 500,000, but never return. Would you want to lend again?
No.
Exactly.
I got this brother, no.
Hypothetical brother, okay? Okay, so black with internal operating problems. Maybe they use too much system already. They don't have a integrated system, and then maybe their marketing department and their finance department don't talk to each other. Then they got a lot of all this misalignment here and there. This can actually cause miscommunication that can cause customer dissatisfaction. Okay, an example. Okay, higher overall unit cost in relative to your key competitor. Don't know why. You need to pay higher, maybe some licensing fee in comparison to your competitor that probably has patent or whatever. Okay, then subpar profit margins. I think generally in bank, we classify certain, we actually are able to see certain industry, they have higher profit margin. Certain industry, they have lower profit margin that don't have much buffer. So what are the example of industry that have high profit margin? F&B, okay?
Luxury product.
Yes.
Necessity store. The needs, not necessity, needs.
The needs actually is quite, you cannot get high, not very high. Yes. Health, yes, to a certain extent. Yeah, actually those beauty thing, 女人錢好易賺
all those lady money.
Yeah, you are right. Those 減肥 one, those facial one.
Not other make money also,
not making money. Must be mismanagement or fund,
London not
or
making money.
don't have maybe weak distribution network or whatever. Because last time, actually I've seen before, all my clients the one that I've seen before really like one of the, if not the highest profit margin, it actually really come from those beauty center and things like that. It's 兩公婆啦, manage a beauty center lah.
But for those that has lesser profit margin, if it came with a big volume, still consider high profit margin.
Yeah, like tissue paper.
Oh no, margin is the percentage. You can have high profit, but your margin is not definitely high. For example, if you're selling this thing at 3 ringgit, then your cost is 1 ringgit. Wow, very high profit margin. If your cost is 2 ringgit 70 cent, or maybe 2 ringgit 90 cent, but you sell 3 ringgit, then your profit margin is very thin, regardless of volume. That one is you will have high profits, but not margin. Margin is by percentage. Okay. So those beauty one I've seen before, beauty center, their gross profit margin is like 70%. Like those services branding whatever that you don't really keep stock one actually all these also very high. Like software development
General cost, traveling. No.
Paperwork only.
Yeah, like those branding
Paperwork,
consultancy,
computer.
coaching, all these kind that you
That's all,
don't involve.
If I really want to hunt,
Yes.
don't need office at all, also can.
So having said that, those that you don't have to keep stock, it doesn't involve buying goods, selling goods. Generally, services will have very high profit margin because you don't have to buy something and sell something. So which means trading will have low margin. Like if you were to sell very generic product, very mass market product like can of food lah, Maggi lah, whatever lah, this kind of one, this type of product is like no differentiation one. The profit margin will be very low because the substitute, you can always substitute with other product. The substitution is very high. Okay.
The chances of let's say the chances of loaning also is low because bank they like to see a lot of transactions. So if let's say for example those who have very high profit margins are usually they have lesser transactions. Like you talk about beauty salon, like aesthetic clinics. They don't have like normal clinic like this kind of day-to-day so many crowd one. And maybe one month they only see like 5 people only.
Yeah.
But your loan also you all don't see that, because we tried before. The bank actually rejected us our aesthetic clinics due to not enough volume of people of invoices that.
I think not enough transaction doesn't warrant a rejection.
Instead,
it's not enough sales volume, not enough revenue.
Okay, my aesthetic clinic and dental clinic, dental clinic about 100,000. Aesthetic clinic about 400,000. But I can never borrow loan for any shit from this company. But for dental clinic, whatever I borrow sure can one.
Okay.
CBCT
what about the profit? Maybe this is reporting a 400,000 revenue. What about the profit? Because maybe your aesthetic clinic, you need to buy a lot of equipment. Those equipment.
The dentistry actually buys more equipment than the aesthetic clinic.
So both are reporting profits.
Margin, actually, aesthetic is higher than dentistry one. But when we borrow loans at time, right? When the report came out to us, is that the dentistry, because we have a lot more transactions as compared to aesthetics.
I don't think the bank see something as if you have a lot of transaction, then they are comfortable with. For example, software development, they don't have a lot of transaction. They probably only have 3 projects in a year, but maybe one project costs a few 100,000. So they don't have a lot of transaction, but still their profit margin is very high, something like that. Field. That's what I want to say. It could be industry. It could be maybe your aesthetic, your SSM registration. It is under it's also clinic, same dentistry. Because sometimes it can be because of the industry risk that the bank associate with. You will find that certain thing, how come this bank is not comfortable in lending to nurse, but while this bank is comfortable in lending to nurse. Maybe internally they have got certain internal control. Their profile, they have a lot of NPL from nurse. So they refrain from lending to nurse. But whereas other banks, they don't have this issue. I mean, my nurse repayment, okay, but very healthy. So I seen before one particular many years ago, there's one particular bank, very hard for nurse to get financing from them. So eventually when they find out further, it's because their internal control, their profile, don't know why they have got a lot of nurse that didn't repay. Because some nurses, when they during their trainee, they are attached to something, they hardly go out, and those days you make manual payment one, no online payment one. They hardly go out in time to make their repayment. So they have very not so nice credit profile that fluctuating. Sometimes they pay 1, 2 months, 3 months, like that kind of thing. So that particular bank, the rejection rate for nurse application of financing is very high. So sometimes it is attributable to that particular bank's risk appetite on certain industry. Maybe you try other bank. Okay. So, lack of talent. So nowadays a lot of high growth company, they are going after hiring talent. They spend like a lot of money in hiring talent. So this will be one of your weakness if you don't have enough talent. Okay, next we go to potential external opportunity and also external threats. So what are some of the things that you think is being considered as opportunities but are not listed there? Or mostly are already there. These are just some of the examples. So some of the opportunities, like for example, now you are serving this particular clinic like that, then you want to serve additional, you are going into aesthetic, something like that. Okay, expand, new product line. Pardon? Where? Under opportunity, you mean? If you get investor in. If you get investor, okay, if you have investor in that can help you to expand further, like maybe help you to expand into new product line, new geographical region and everything, that can be also an opportunity if you manage to get a big fish in. Just like, for example, expand a new product line. Maybe previously you're only selling ice cream, now you also do gelato, okay, something like that, yogurt, okay, diversify into related business. Having said that, actually, if your diversification is too wide, actually banks don't like to see, because they feel that whether you have the relevant experience, let's say for example, you are doing, you are selling mass market product one, then suddenly you say you want to sell, let's say you're selling FMCG product, then suddenly you go and sell cars. I want to sell Proton car. I want to go and get a distributorship. Because of the so you all the while your track record is in dental, then you diversify into aesthetic. So don't have enough track record. Because you see, sometimes our bank, they can just give you a very diplomatic reason, but it may not be the actual reason why they reject. Yeah. So diversify in the related business, yes, is good. Like vertical integration. Like I said, I'm now selling this product. Let's say some particular, let's say toilet paper lah. Then after that, I feel like the profit margin very thin. I want to be manufacturing my own toilet paper. So I go into a vertical integration by setting up my own plant and everything to sell toilet paper. So that one will be a related business. So it can be seen as an opportunity to increase your profit margin. But if you were to go totally unrelated, like FMCG into oil and gas, then there comes the question of capability. Where is the qualification? Let's say technical qualification. So e-commerce potential, like during the MCO time, people started to sell things online. So those who refuse to change with the market, they continue to stay at home lah. So those who find ways to manage to sell things online, even people who do insurance at time, unit trust, all of them are going online. Okay? Falling trade barriers and attracting foreign market. Maybe previously you've got a lot of regulations in some European Union country. Now that they removed the trade barriers, so it became an opportunity for you to move into the market. Okay, untapped export markets, like for example, maybe there's a trade mission that can bring your product to Tanzania lah, South Africa lah, that kind of thing. Okay, or possible vertical integration. It's venturing into a related business. Then faster market growth. Maybe now with Amazon, all this coming in, providing cloud services, it can actually help your existing business to grow faster. Okay, and also probably government wanted to support certain industry. They probably give grant subsidies just to subsidize your digitalization, digital transformation. So these are being seen as an opportunity for you to catch up with the latest trend. And also potential partnership with larger firms. Maybe you manage to get an association with a bigger firm. They can riding on their track records to sell more, to reach out to a wider market. So potential external threats. So what are some of the possible threats that you can think of? They are not listed there. Environmental? Yeah, nowadays we talk about ESG thing. If you don't combine with all this ESG thing, like for example, if you're palm oil, in palm oil industry, you don't get MSPO certification.
Maybe your company near the beach, then tsunami come, then
Correct. If you're a resort, you're like Bali, you're just beside the beach. When one tsunami came,
COVID considered threat?
Yes. COVID. Yeah. How prepared are you for the next pandemic? Okay, global competition when China flood in all their cheaper steel and whatever into the market. It used to be like rather quite protective. And then after that, China dumped their steel here. So our local player became not so competitive. So there's another form of threat. Okay, entry of lower cost foreign competitor, same thing like for example, there's only a handful of company in Malaysian market that produce glass. So one fine day, some very big investor come in from China and set up a glass manufacturing plant in Negeri Sembilan, and they are selling cheaper. So if you're a glass manufacturer in Malaysia, suddenly you face this kind of competition.
You work together with them, or?
if they want to work with you, because they will be thinking that, why should I be working with you? So as far as you want to work with them,
already, all you need to do is invest money, me being part of your
probably if like never mind, we got too many to throw out already. We really need to spend all our this budget, something like that. Okay, but partnership, yes, it can be under opportunity. Okay, then change in technological trend globally lah. Okay, then product substitution. You may have, for example, Maggi mee. You don't get to eat Maggi mee, but eat Jintan mee lor. So if you are selling Maggi mee, today don't have Maggi mee, will people be waiting for your Maggi mee? No lah, go and get Jintan mee lah. Okay, then slower market growth. Certain industry will be seeing slower market growth. I mean, there's always this yo-yo thing. Like for example, during COVID time, maybe we see a glove industry have exponential growth. But because of this, a lot of people are jumping in. A lot of people are starting to set up the glove factory and everything. Then slowly your growth slow down. Or during the COVID time, people are selling masks, selling those sanitizer. Then more and more chemical industry very fast they switch into selling hand sanitizer. Then suddenly you feel like, the hand sanitizer to them, their profit margin also not that high. Okay, average change in foreign exchange rates and trade. If let's say you export or import to US, Japan, China, the fluctuation in the foreign exchange can actually affect your profitability. Okay, then costly regulatory requirement. Like for now, last year our country actually imposed NSRF, National Sustainability Reporting Framework, that required some listed company to do ESG reporting, like those above 1 billion market capitalization, revenue above let's say certain 100 million, then they will need to start doing all this NSRF. Whether you like it or you don't like it, you need to do. And these are additional costs to your business operation. Okay, then adverse demographic changes. For example, what?
Need to pay for the levy.
You mean the threat? What do you think? What do you think?
HLEC considered as a threat.
No, like you stuff, then you must pay the 1%.
It's actually an opportunity to reskill your company people talent, so they can build up a talent pool in your company.
But not every individual in the company needs a talent. Correct? And then plus, let's say for example, like labor workers, they just do this thing like that means forever like that. There's no special needs for your communication skills, for your this skill, that skill, and all. Imagine if it's a factory who have like 3,000 workers every day, just the hamper.
Okay, you can go for those operational safety course, operation to improve their efficiency course.
Very good.
Yeah. Adverse demographic changes, like in Japan, their population, the aging population is getting more and more. So if you are in the industry that's targeting young population, so maybe your opportunities are less, it will be seen as a threat. Okay, so let's do a very fun, short, simple SWOT analysis, because I believe that every one of us is aware and really know about all this bubble tea chain franchise coffee outlet So you can choose either bubble tea chain or franchise coffee outlets. Why not we discuss and do a simple SWOT analysis on one that you can choose a bubble tea chain or franchise coffee outlet. You can actually draw your SWOT here and then put in your SWOT here. You can start discussing now, and after discussion, you may come here and actually display your SWOT. You choose first, maybe 5-10 minutes. Yeah.
Which one is the best? Because of all this, because of all these donkey brands, all the rental of every place all increased. Really, like all the shops that I ran on, all increased price because of them. Last time BMC, Panama Makota Cheras, haven't come in all these niche, Changi, the rental is okay. Like downstairs it's only 4,000. Once they come in, the rental become 8,000, 9,000. Oh,
so you all choose what? Bubble tea chain, coffee?
Which one?
I don't know.
I don't mind.
I don't mind.
Zeus,
Zeus coffee
Okay, so their strength is
Strength is they are considered one of the cheaper.
reasonable
drinks
price.
reasonable.
Reasonable price.
Reasonable.
Want to buy, you buy.
Oh, you're right now.
Yeah.
Reasonable
Strength.
price.
Actually, strength, to be honest, their marketing more funkier than Starbucks and Coffee Bean. They have like more
Better
innovation,
marketing, I mean.
more ideas, more collaboration, and they have all those cute
There's
games.
actually better location plans.
Oh,
True, so.
okay.
Customer loyalty also better, right?
Customer loyalty.
Customer loyalty.
Customer retention.
They're actually more.
They don't use what brandy.
Yeah.
Those add one.
They're actually in trend also. They are more in trend as compared to Starbucks and Coffee Bean. And then if you talk about trend wise, if you talk about app, Zoos app actually does way much better than those Starbucks and stupid Coffee Bean.
Actually, you notice or not? Like people like our age like that, we actually prefer Zeus one, But I noticed the younger one, don't know why they prefer Starbucks. And you see all these younger college, college goer, they don't even earn money yet. Or those freshie, right? They prefer Starbucks one.
Of course lah, because of all the American movie,
those
Netflix.
influence.
I need to get my Starbucks.
Give them a certain
Right?
status.
Yeah. And
So-
plus, yes, I agree with that. It's actually like it's more towards like a status and not like because they like Starbucks. I mean, influence, yes, one influence. Two, also because of the influence, they perceive Starbucks as like a 有钱人机会，不要本机会。So that means that I have the ability to go there and drink So it's like part of
好练.
trap lah. Put it that
Okay.
way lah.
Yeah.
Put it that way. Like for us to be honest, right? Like even Zeus, to be honest, Zeus tastes like a bit
It's more value for money.
than Starbucks, but for the price wise, it's like on point.
Okay.
Because we will be thinking, really worth it.
Value for money lah.
Yeah, really value for money.
Okay, what about some of the weakness of Zeus? Can you think of? Wow, this looks like all the fans of Zeus here.
Not really. Just trying to be
The coffee bean is not good.
Okay, coffee bean quality not so good.
Taste like
Okay,
the
lower
room for
quality.
improvement lah.
Okay,
Okay, their
taste.
service sucks.
So service
Definitely sucks. If you want to compare with Starbucks,
level.
The barista is.
the barista is horrible. The training program sucks.
Okay. Anything? Any more weakness?
Weakness, Zeus.
Their outlook is too simple.
Yeah, okay. Their sitting arrangement is
Outlook too
very
simple.
basic.
Then opportunity lah. They can actually,
Right.
yeah.
It can be the weakness, then only go for opportunity. So their sitting arrangement is actually very poor as compared to Starbucks.
Okay.
The comfort of
Yeah, Starbucks give you a feeling that you can stay there. You
Yeah.
want to stay there longer.
Yeah.
But Zeus, you take chow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zeus doesn't want you to stay there.
Correct.
That's
That's
why.
their marketing plan
Being
as
as a
a
consumer.
Correct. That's how we see
Okay.
it lah. As a
Better
But
layout.
as Zeus management, I just want you to take my coffee and
Then
go away.
yeah. That's not wrong also. It's actually true.
Because my shop is only this small, and because I need to expand my store to a lot of places, so I cannot afford you buying just one coffee and you sit in my shop the whole day. So you better buy and you jump.
It's not comfortable also one. They are couch compared to Starbucks. Starbucks you can literally sleep there in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Opportunity.
Opportunity, they can do sub brands, or maybe they can do
Eating items lah.
food items.
Introducing food. More localized menu.
What more localized do you want? Syrup ice
Maybe you got some bandung, don't know what lah. Syrup bandung, coffee lah.
Opportunity.
I don't think they have much more opportunity.
Can expand to other country. Expand
You
to.
try lah, I sure you can.
I think they
Zeus got premium one, right? I don't know. Black color one.
I think they are trying to expand big into Philippines.
Expand overseas lah, you mean?
Yeah. Threat leh.
Lucky
In
Coffee,
comparison.
lor.
Pardon?
Competitor like
Competitor.
Lucky Coffee,
Yes,
lor.
a lot of competitors. Competition. What else?
Low coffee bean production due to environmental.
Okay, like those are ESG concern lah, and also
Yeah, bean is actually not
source
also one, right?
Sorry?
source of
Zeus?
Juice is bean.
Zeus bean? No,
from
actually
themselves
all
also,
coffee bean, Zeus, Starbucks, they all just go to like those South America, South Africa to just buy
raw material
also.
sources. Yes,
Yeah.
fluctuation in the production, fluctuation in the prices.
Yeah.
Get any more?
But they don't care
COVID
because they just use all bad
COVID.
bad beans.
Another pandemic. I think pandemic will be threat for everyone.
Yeah.
Except the industry that benefit from it. Okay. So now you know SWOT analysis well. Okay.
Oh, opportunity I thought of already is Zeus.
What?
They can do like those packaging and you can take home and then do your own coffee. Or on
Oh.
Condensed coffee.
Product.
Suddenly
They call what? Coffee tablet or what? Coffee.
actually.
So you have a lot of aspiring business
Actually, they can
entrepreneur
actually
here.
also do like bean also one because those people who really like coffee people who really like coffee.
But people who really like coffee, I won't go to
they won't go
those.
to those one. Yeah, I think the power is just fine now.
Like those coffee capsules, like Nescafe, like that.
They can do merchandise also for opportunities.
Merchandise.
Merchandise on collections or more.
Wow, like McD lah.
It's like those. It's more like just now what Zach said. Like you buy something then you collect. Okay, like Crocs. The whole hold the shoe. Then girl to buy this one, clip, something like that. Okay, or like those girls who wear the what's it called? Pandora, then collect.
Wow, we got a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs here. So whenever I run out of idea, can actually ask from you all like, how best to run my business.
Not much, I still starting every month. I just for consultation. Very cheap.
No discount for me.
It's really
for attending my class.
It's half the price already.
Discounted is how much?
688.
688
6,800.
per month or per year.
Okay, so now we come to like the last part of the module about all the other credit risks. Okay, so what is a credit risk? Credit risk is a risk of default by the borrower in fulfilling its repayment obligation. That is why it is very important today to gauge their future potential, future earning power. What are the things that can affect their earning capability? Okay, so what are some of the important risks or some of the major risks that the bank? Of course, there's a lot of risks, but only because it is an introductory course, so I actually only list down 6 of the more common risks. Okay, one will be the market risk anything that has got to do with the external force like inflation interest rate competition, fluctuation in commodity prices that will affect their business, such as interest rate keep increasing, then their loan is getting more and more expensive, and then the repayment capacity is getting lower because the commitment is getting higher. Okay, like competition, maybe those days before T-Life is being renamed T-Life. What's the name really? The old name.
The Taiwan one.
Cha time. Yeah, during I think Cha time the time, I think it's quite profitable back then. But after that, more and more bubble tea started coming out. Now you got what? Raji what Beauty Aicha what and what Okay, so you have got more and more competition. So apparently, I think my friend who actually went into all these, they say that now this is the ROE. It takes longer time to repay their initial capital. Okay, fluctuation in commodity prices, like for example, you trade CPO, crude palm oil, or you need to import soya because as a feed meal to your chicken to your farm and everything. So any changes in the commodity prices can affect your profit margins. Okay. Liquidity risk, the risk that the borrower cannot generate enough cash to meet short-term obligations. So they can have a lot of assets, but maybe their assets are not liquid one. For example, they got a lot of property they got a lot of unquoted shares, investment here, there in unlisted company. So although they look like they have a lot of assets, but at the end of the day, it's very hard to convert these assets into liquidity. So what are some of the best assets that's really very liquid? Cash fixed deposit unit trust quoted shares gold lah, all these lah. So those movable one, those unmovable lah, like those factory everything, it's it's not to say not convertible to cash, but it's harder and it take longer time.
FD is the best one.
FD cash.
But cash it can be in and out so many times. But FD is like
same one. FD is up to you to withdraw what.
True. So
but at least the one is
the withdrawal
principal protected lah. I think the only instrument that is principal protected means you put in 100,000, you can guarantee get back your 100,000, but very low return is cash and FD only. No other thing is principal protected. Okay. Having said that, that is why the bank prefer to take FD and also all this cash as a collateral compared to your car lah, your factory lah, unless your property is in a location that is very good, the growth rate is very high one. Like those days we see certain location are like 3 years, the price double. That one will be a good collateral. But generally, bank will ascribe 100% value to cash, whereas property, depending on the bank policy, they probably only ascribe 70 to 90% depending on the type of property. For example, if it's a residential, they feel that residential property is easier to sell out, so maybe the bank will ascribe 90% value. But if let's say you are a non-standard factory in don't know where, non-standard factory, they probably only ascribe 60-70% value. Land, if it's an agricultural land, vacant land, the bank probably ascribe only 50% value to the land. So what I'm trying to say is 1 million FD, the bank recognize it as 1 million value. 1 million vacant land, the bank only recognize as 500,000 value. Okay. Operational risk, it can be those internal fraud lah, system failure lah, poor management that is resulting in failure in operation. So if a bank doesn't do proper verification, never went and do site visit, never check properly, never go and talk to the owner and see how genuine they are, then sometimes it can be a con job. It can be a fraudulent application to begin with. Okay, concentration risk will be a type of risk that you're exposed to, like a single borrower, a very big sector, a very big geographic region. Like for the bank side, right, they wouldn't want to have very big exposure. This is why they have a capping, For example, Sheikh Mokhtar group of companies is very big, He have companies everywhere. So in the corporate banking level, they will have like a group one, like this Genting group lah, this what group and what group one. Then they will assign a capping one, certain grouping or related. If you supply more than 50% of your company revenue comes from dealing or transaction, let's say with Genting group, then you are being tied into the Genting group already. They don't want to have overexposure to one particular group. Okay, and also sector like oil and gas. Although back then oil and gas is like a very lucrative industry, earn so much, but you cannot be allocating the entire capital to oil and gas. What if it were to experience downturn? So you need to diversify geographic region. You cannot be just lending everything in Klang Valley. You need to have segregation out in East Malaysia, let's say Perak, okay? Then on the borrower side, on the business owner side, also bank don't really like to see concentration. If you are only selling to one single customer, or you are only getting supply from one single supplier, or you only have one particular product, you only sell one particular product. What if one day your product is substitutable? Like you only sell Maggi mee lah. So Chintan mee came out, people will not hesitate to buy Chintan mee if there's no Maggi mee, something like that. Okay, like we know certain customer who only serve like one big customer. This VIP customer gave me millions of revenue a year. So, but it's actually good to slowly diversify and add in like some smaller fish so that you can actually tell the bank that, yeah, I know, I acknowledge that I have this big customer that contribute 90% of my revenue, but what I'm doing is I'm really doing it to diversify. I'm diversifying it, my business to include more customer. Suppliers also. What the bank worry is if you're heavily reliant on one particular supplier, what if you cannot source the raw material from other supplier, or even if you want to source from other supplier, it probably will cost you a lot. Or what if only this particular supplier has the raw material that you need? So if he decided to increase the cost by 50% and you have already agreed contractually, you already agreed to deliver at this price, so how are you going to cover? So concentration risk is something that the bank always try to minimize. Okay. Next, foreign exchange risk, especially those people who export their things overseas or they import, maybe like you export your furniture to the Middle East, you import soya bean, soya meal, you import whatever, those commodity from overseas. So any changes in the currency will affect your profit margin. And next is the regulatory risk. Any changes in the law, for example, you rely on approved permit to import cars, any change in the policy will affect your business, your industry. Like PDPA, certain industry like medical health is very much regulated by PDPA. Whereas certain industry is not so on PDPA, then nowadays we have got all this minimum wage, foreign worker regulation, ESG e-invoicing that you need to comply with. So these are the things that is affecting your business operation. Okay, so any question? No. Okay. So apart from this, actually we have got a lot of other risks like country risk lah, downside risk lah. Those downside risks are risks that you cannot mitigate. Like for example, if an owner were to pass away, these are the risks that you cannot mitigate. So I remember back then when I'm in Maybank, we have this MH370 thing that hit the company. So the authorized signature, the owner was on MH370. So overnight, the company account, current account, everything is frozen, you know. You cannot do any transaction because the authorized signatory, like both authorized signatory, disappear. So even the CFO wanted to make payment to supplier or whatever, cannot. It's just frozen because the authorized signatory is not around. Okay. So, summary, we go back to our module 1 is the scope of credit evaluation, where we look at the purpose, the structure, and the 5 C's of credit. Quantitative analysis, we look at the earning capacity, the financial position, the liquidity position. Qualitative analysis, we look at the qualitative part, like SWOT, management, and the other credit risks. Okay? Okay, review outcome. So by now, participants should be able to understand the basics of business credit. Okay? And any more questions? No. Okay, the end. Thank you.
Thank you.
第二个比较好玩哦。我说第二个比较好，第二个